Well, hello. I thought I'd use the, not as dramatic with the short focal length of the cell phone camera, backdrop of Slim Buttes as an introduction to this week's episode of Pens in Use, which this week will be Pens on the Road, because I'm actually opening not at Slim Buttes, but in Spearfish, South Dakota. But I didn't think of filming the opening while I was there, so I saw this dramatic scene behind me and decided to use that. So let's dive into it. If videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens, both new and old, and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. Sorry. And is a topic I was thinking as I was wandering around Spearfish and the surrounding area. What's it like living in a place like that? Is that a place you want to live or a place you want to visit? You know, that's a thought I've had. I don't have an intelligent answer for it yet. So, might be a good discussion to have down in the comments, especially those of you who may live in those touristed kind of areas. I live in an area that's not touristed, but a lot of tourists pass through it on the way to the tourist areas. So I guess I get to see the best of both. So let's dive into the pens. And as always, I'll be filming all the writing samples in my Bomo art journal, which don't have with me because I'm on the road. I'll just add one other thing I was thinking is I had that golden light and it faded between my first filming and this one. It was perfect lighting. So it doesn't last long if you're a photographer. But I'm so glad I was able to catch it because I came this way on purpose to catch that light. All right, so not in front of Slim Buttes or in Spearfish anymore. These are the pens. It's kind of a small selection this week. The reason it's small, of course, has to do with traveling and just been a busy week. So I emptied some pens, but really didn't ink too many up. And you just get weeks like that, and this has been one of them. Headed out again this weekend for a class, so no rest for the wicked, right? So from left to right, I have a Montblanc 32. I have a Waterman Koran, which probably is going to be the next one to go empty. An Artisan Pens Classic from Australia, a Senator pen, one that I did ink up this week because, well, just because, Parker Challenger, Parker Duofold, Streamlined Junior, and Senator Cracked Blind Cap. So, my two pens from videos this week, and then a couple extras. So let's see how they write. As always, I don't have the camera turned on, so we'll just do it this way. We'll be using the Bomo Art Journal. All right, we'll begin our pens with my Montblanc 32, which has an extra fine nib. So this is the one true Montblanc, my collection. It dates from the 1960s, and it's one of those slim black pens that I like. Has the official bird splat logo, and the bird splatted on the other end too. Nice piston action. The ink window pretty much only good for seeing if it's empty or full. You can't really get a clue of level from it, and it's kind of hidden in the threads. And then it has this nice, what would you call it, inlaid, intarsia, fingernail. I guess I wouldn't go with inlaid, but anyway, a small gold nib with an extra fine point on it. That's been my daily writer this past 2 weeks. I'm that other Senator that's going to appear here in a minute is coming along with me because this is probably going to run dry this weekend. And, you know, if I was smart, I'd bring black ink along with me, which I do have, but just not this type of black ink. Because I gotten into using that Pelican Brilliant Black, and that's what's in my little portable bottle. So, there we go. My next pen, which will probably, like I said, be empty before long, a Waterman Koran. With a marine amber finish. And a truly inlaid nib. And I have the broad, which in French is labeled with an L. Not an easy nib to find. The ink in this is Kyo-iro, which I just found out they have a color I don't have. I'm not sure that I'm going to buy it. I have more ink than I need. But I am tempted. And they're coming out with another color here in February. So this is Higashiyama Moonlight. Not a very moonlighty color. Well, maybe when the moon is just on the horizon, sometimes it's kind of orange and big. Maybe that's what this is referring to. But these colors all refer to a certain area in Japan, different things or whatever. I mentioned, well, my first impression this week was this pen. This is Artisan pens, classic. It's made by YouTuber JPL. Quite a controversial video, as it turned out. I had quite a lot of comments remarking on the finish, remarking on his business practices and so on. I don't know. I won't say it's amazing. It writes well. The finish leaves a bit to be desired. In fact, since this is recorded and I'm at home, I have just a plain ebonite pen here. It's a Birmingham pen. I filmed the video. I just haven't published it yet. But you can see how nice and smooth this is. So using the same material, I've gotten so I'm thinking he might have been better off leaving it as plain ebonite. I don't know. So I can only rate my experience with the pen, which is decent. It feels comfortable to hold, which is one of the important things. Another important thing is it writes well, which isn't really down to him because it's a Bach nib and probably a Bach feed. But, the pen is what it is. I guess I don't get as worked up as some people do. I knew what I was buying. And I knew it was a gamble. Oops. And the ink in this is, what is it? Rohrer and Klingner Alt-bordeaux, which some people have suggested as a replacement for the Montblanc Bordeaux, which, it's a little more saturated. But yeah, it's in that color family. The nib, I think I forgot to write that there, is a double broad. So it's a pleasant writer. It's, could be more refined, but the writing is good. And that's the most important part of a pen. I have a Senator that you haven't seen in a while. I filmed a review of this quite a long time ago. One of my earlier vintage buys. So this is a Senator. And like most of my Senators, I don't have a name for it. So this is a Senator matte gray and silver. And the ink in it is Iroshizuku. Asa-gao. So it's a fairly plain pen, but this is a daily writer type of pen. It's just a pen well, I probably should have inked it up with black, but to be my next daily writer, but I didn't. I don't know. I feel a little off today. Maybe it's because I didn't do my intro and I'm just filming the writing sample. Just something feels off with this video today. Also not filming at my usual time. I'm filming this in the morning instead of at night, and I suppose my mind's on work already and not this. Parker Challenger, very nice vintage pen that I fixed up, and I think I did this one last week. Its ink level is going down. I don't think you'll see this one next week. But, when I reviewed it originally, I did the first impression. I was complaining that it was very dry. As you can see, it's much better now. So I think it just because it hadn't been used in a while. What the heck ink is in it? Rohrer and Klingner Alt-bordeaux. This pen mainly needed cleaning and it needed a new sack. The pressure bar was fine. Parker's pressure bars are a little more interesting than some other button fillers. They've got an extra piece to them. And a lot of them seem to be a slightly different size than the other type of pressure bar. You can kind of tell... Here. One of the extra pieces sticks out kind of like a lip like that by the button. For better or for worse. Second to last pen, we have a Parker Duofold. This is a vintage one. Its full name is Parker Duofold Streamlined Junior. Probably from the 1920s, later on. As they got more interesting with their colors. This is also a button filler. Parker didn't really do lever fillers in their Parker pens. They did in some of their Fifth Avenue and such, but they did button fillers because they were less likely to catch on the shirt. Just, I guess they felt it was a little classier. This has a very nice nib. So this is a Parker Duofold Streamlined Junior. And the ink in it is Iroshizuku. Yama-guri. Nice brown. I've for a long time I didn't like brown inks, and I don't know why really. It's just lately I've kind of gotten into them. I had a few. I haven't really bought any brown inks because I haven't really bought any new ink in a long time. But I don't know. I've just been using the ones I have finally. And I think I mentioned that new Kyo-iro ink that's coming out will be a brown color. The one I saw that I don't have is green. So this is Senator Cracked Blind Cap. I got some very good advice on fixing the blind cap. So I'm going to write this empty. But then after that, I'm going to take that seriously and get this blind cap fixed. So Senator Blind Cap won't be so... Senator Cracked Blind Cap won't be so cracked anymore. Oops, and I just forgot what ink is in this. So let me turn... My computer just went to sleep, so let me turn it back awake. Oh, no wonder I can't remember what ink is in it. It's not one that I typically use. It's one of those Krishna samples. This pen would also be a great daily writer. Maybe especially if the blind cap weren't cracked. The ink in it is Krishna Specialty. So far, all these sample bottles that he sent me have been specialty something. After Dark. I ended up driving after dark on my way home from Spearfish. You could tell the sun was setting in my opening. And, yeah, it set long before I got home because... You know, it's not like I live close to anywhere. It takes me a good long time to get down to Spearfish from where I live. And so I went down the night before, stayed the night in a motel. Didn't do much Spearfish nightlife. I guess I'm not a nightlife person. I actually did a premiere of last week's Pens in Use while sitting in the motel with a terrible, terrible wireless connection that kept kicking me off. And so I was doing part of it on my cell phone, part of it on my computer when it would let me. And yeah, I was just getting frustrated. So I'm actually at a class this weekend in Bismarck, and I decided not to try premiering this one, just in case I run into the same trouble. So this is just recorded. Plus, as I say this, it is Friday morning, because like I said, I had a busy week. And I haven't recorded the narration for the Spearfish footage yet. So, I may be doing that in the motel tonight. Who knows? But let's take a look around Spearfish. Spearfish is a fun place to visit. As I remarked in my opening, would it be as fun if I lived there? And I don't have a good answer for that. So let's take a look at Spearfish. So Spearfish is in the Black Hills. This is the view from my motel parking lot. Smallish city of about 16,000 people. And, of course, a boost from the tourist industry and the fact that it's right on the interstate. And it's kind of the city around there, unless you go to Rapid City. So, it has an okay main street. This is their city hall. I kind of like this statue here, so I walked closer to get a good close-up of it. I thought it represented somebody famous, but no, it's just kind of referencing some kind of ideals. But anyway, very nice statue. So, yeah, vision. Just a cool garage. I just felt like I needed to include it. Because I like old buildings. But yeah, it's kind of your touristy main street. I was actually surprised you don't quite see it. I thought I took footage of it, but there's a Sears store right there in the background that is still in business. I didn't know that was still a thing in small places like Spearfish. But yeah, they have a Sears store right on Main Street. That's the old City Hall. It's now kind of an artsy thing. There's art galleries, like little coffee shops and stuff. I looked for fountain pens in here, didn't find any. Found some old books. Saw this piece of art, and that flag kept getting in the way of my filming the art. And apparently we're going to look at the old City Hall again. And I should go back and edit it, but oh well, we'll live. It's a cool looking building. And just another shot up Main Street. There were two antique stores. I looked for fountain pens in them. Didn't find any, but Yeah, there's a natural food store. Oh, and now the highlight. This is the surprising entry to Spearfish Canyon. First time I was in Spearfish, I drove right past this not realizing it was the entry to the canyon. Because it doesn't look like anything. But once you get into the canyon, it sure does. And that's why I'm closing out this video with little snippets of canyon footage. You can find on my channel a full drive or two of the canyon. And there will certainly be more in the future. Because it's a beautiful place to drive in all seasons. Unless it's snowing or icy, then I don't think this would be a real fun drive. Probably still pretty though, but you might be watching it from your upside down car. And yeah, as I drove the canyon, there got to be a lot more snow. And I suppose that's elevation and just being sheltered in the forest and by the mountains. Oh, just a beautiful area. I love going down to the Black Hills. That's when I was talking about tourism at the beginning of this, I don't live in a tourist area, but I've said a lot of people come through here on their way to tourist areas. And this is one of those areas that they come through here to get to. It's a 2-hour drive for me to go down to the Black Hills. Why I don't do it more often, I couldn't tell you. But I love going down there. One of my goals this year is to go hike up to Devil's Bathtub, which is in the canyon. And I want to explore some other things in the canyon, or in the area. Hit Needles Highway again. Some of the hikes. There's some lakes I really want to wander around. Yeah, I could go on and on and on, and I'll stop there, but I just thought it'd be fun to share Spearfish with you. So I'll be not doing a Pens on the Road next week because it turned out I'm not on the road. Last minute they decided to offer the class electronically, so yay. I get to sit in front of a computer all day. So we'll get through it, but I don't get my Bismarck fun. So anyway, if videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. I even occasionally tour new places. And again, the tourist area thing. If you live in a tourist area, do you enjoy it? Do you take advantage of it? Or is it more for outsiders? Or is it like people in most places where they just don't appreciate what they have in their own backyard? Let me know down in the comments. So I want to thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.